In a previous video, I modeled this fun little treasure chest, toy-like thing. And it was pretty easy to do for relative beginners. And tonight, I'm going to model this one. All right. The previous one didn't open, and it was a little bit different. But we're going to use a lot of the same techniques. All right. It's pretty easy to do. I might make some mistakes along the way. It can get a little bit involved for relative beginners, like myself, by the way. But let's have some fun and model something like this. All right. So here we are over in Blender, and with the opening scene, and I'm going to select everything and just delete everything. I'm going to switch over to Cycles Render so I can use GPU compute for my video card. I'm going to switch to 1 on my number pad and 5, so we're looking straight on the front of this thing. All right, and my screencast keys are on so you can see what I'm doing. All right, I'm going to hit Shift A, and that's going to bring up the add menu, and I'm going to choose Mesh Cylinder. Make sure that's 32 and just leave all the default settings. I want to rotate this so it's on its side, so I'm going to rotate it around the Y. I'm going to go RY90, and I'm going to go SX so I can scale it out a little bit, like something like that. Okay. All right, let's go into the side view, number 3, and go into edit mode. You can do that down here, and wireframe, Z for wireframe, or you can choose that down here. And now we can look right through it. I am going to switch to vertex mode. Well, I'm already on vertex mode, and I'm going to hit B to box select, and I'm going to drag a box over all these bottom vertices and leave the ones that are sitting on the y-axis and all those other ones. I'm going to go X vertices. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button and turn around and think about what I need to do. I don't think I need to do actually anything more than that. Let's get out of wireframe and go into solid view, and actually we can go right back to object mode for a moment. Let's get rid of this grid floor. Hit N to get rid of the grid floor and choose display, uncheck grid floor, and let's switch to under shading, matte cap, ambient occlusion, and we're going to choose a shader that will work well for us, that one, and to close that. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to be deleting that as well, by the way, soon. First of all, what we're going to do is go into edit mode in front view, and I'm going to put in a couple of edge loops. So I'm going to go Control R. It's going to put one right down the middle, but I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up once so I get 2 of them, and I'm going to left click and then right click to accept. I'm going to scale in the X and pull it out till I have something like that. I want to set this up so that I can do the side parts. All right, now look at this one, these things here. Okay, I've put these edge loops here so that I can select all of these polys and all of these polys, and I'm going to go Shift D and then to duplicate them, and then P and enter, and then go back to object mode so that I've made these a new object on their own. All right. What I'm going to do now is go into edit mode and hit A to select them all. I'm going to hit E to extrude and Alt S and pull with my mouse, and that's going to pull them out. So just decide how far you want these to come out to resemble these things. Okay, cool. All right, now I think the last thing I'm going to be doing in grabbing this thing with this is going back into edit mode, and one more time going Control R and putting an edge loop right there in the middle and accepting and just leaving it like there right in the middle. I now want to actually keep that, so I'm going to, it's selected, so I'm going to go P and make it a new object. So I've got that. I can now actually delete that. These are in position relatively, and I've got that. I'm going to use this to make the wood that's going to form the top of this. All right, and in fact I can now hide those, but in order to use this I'm going to convert it to a curve. I'm going to go Alt C, curve from mesh, and that will put a new icon up here that wasn't there before, this one. All right, so I know it's a curve. All right, or you can of course go to edit mode and you can see that it's a curve. Okay, now my 3D cursor is still right in the middle. I haven't moved that, and that's great. So I'm going to go Shift A, Mesh, and bring in a plane. I'm going to scale this in the Y until it's around the width of a board that I would want to have arrayed around this curve. All right, so whatever, just experiment with how wide you want that to be. But in order to bend these around a curve, I need to put more geometry in this. All right, so the way I'm going to do that, and if you didn't understand that, just watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into edit mode again. And of course, by the way, I'm hitting tab and using this pie menu to switch from object to edit mode, but you can do it right down there. Right, you can go into edit mode there. And what I'm going to do is hover my mouse over here and go Control R, and I want to put in lengthwise, not that kind of cut, but this kind of cut. I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up a bunch of times and get a bunch of them. The more of these lines or edge loops that you put in, the better this piece is going to be able to deform and bend. But that's good enough for now. I'm going to accept that, and then I'm going to hit A to select it all, and E to extrude. I'm going to pull up for the approximate sort of thickness of my board. I'm going to come back to object mode. Now, let's hit N and come up and look at the scale of this. Notice it's 1 and 0.17 and all that. I'm going to reinitialize those values because I've done some editing in object mode, and just watch the scale there. I'm going to go Control A, and I'm going to choose rotation and scale. I can't remember if I rotated this plane or not. Otherwise, you could just choose scale. It doesn't really matter which, but watch those numbers. They go all back to 1. By having it like that, further manipulations are going to work better. All right, so with that, I'm going to come over to the wrench icon, add modifier, bevel. I'm going to switch the segments to 2, and I'm just going to leave it at the default values and go apply. You might think that's crazy and I haven't done any work on it and that doesn't look real, but I like this kind of toy-like plastic look right now. I'm not very good at doing realism, so I'm sort of accenting the fact that it's not real looking, it's plastic or whatever. All right, anyhow. Let's make sure, by the way, that we save stuff. Models, that's fine. Okay, so this is going to be treasure chest open. And this is the video I'm making, so call it that. Okay, so we are going to now set up an array, and I'm going to make a bunch of these going in the Y direction. So we're going to choose under the wrench, add modifier array, but in the Y with an offset of 1 and 0 for the X, so that there's some little bit of you can see the groove there. And I'm going to bring this up to I don't know, I'll try 7. Doesn't really matter. There's one more thing we need to do before we can wrap this around the curve. All right, might as well do it right now. Go into edit mode and select. What happens is, because there's an array on, only the first one is editable. The rest are just copies. And they'll follow whatever I do to this one. I'm going to rotate this around the Y. Okay, I'm going to go RY 90, and then they'll stand up on their sides. I'm going to deselect, go back to object mode. Okay, we're ready now. I've got the array on. I haven't applied it yet because I may have to adjust that. I'm going to go add modifier curve, and I'm going to choose this curve. So I'm going to the only curve I've got is that curve right there. So I'm going to do that and choose Y, and you can see that it starts to follow that. I'm going to go into side view and go Alt H to bring back my other stuff. Okay, make sure that this is selected and start pulling on the Y. Let's go back right into side view. And you can see them under there. So they've only come down to there so far. All right. By the way, if your manipulator starts to go away from the center, you can always go origin to 3D cursor and start again. I am going to, well, you could do a couple things. You could scale, or you could add more segments under the count. So I'm going to add another one there. I think I'll try 2 more, and we'll see. Now I'm going to come back this way. That's not bad. I think I'm going to try S for scale, pull just a little bit, holding shift, and then I'm going to use the Y to go back to there. That's probably going to be good enough because I'll be bringing up another object there to cover the very bottom of these anyhow. So that would be my wood there. I'll do some more manipulations in just a minute. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to apply the array, and I'm going to apply the curve. The curve is done. I can take these and hide them, and that blue line there is not useful anymore. Alt-H to bring that back. Now, let's look in front view, and let's scale this in the X a little bit. Pull it like this, and let's go back. Let's scale this in the X. And it doesn't matter if it's underneath this a little bit, I don't think. We'll see how that goes. Let me just try something here. All right, fair enough. Let's go with that for the moment, and we can adjust things very soon. Now, before we go any further, let's bring in another object. Let's bring in let's go with a plane right there. Let's scale this in the X. We'll look a little closer at that in a second. Scale this in the Y. I'm in object mode scaling, so we'll apply rotation and scale in a bit. Let's look down from the top 7, scale in the X, and I'm going to hold down the shift key to go a little slower. I just want it sticking out over the edge. All right, and same thing for the Y. Scale this in the Y. Pull in just a little bit, so pretty close to equal. Okay, so we're going to have something like that. I'm going to pull it up a little bit. All right, let's go into edit mode for this. Make sure it's selected, E to extrude, and let's pull it down. We'll get a little bit of discoloration depending on the way that we pull, the direction we pull. I'm pulling in the wrong way, so some of my normals are the wrong way. So I'm just going to hit A and select it all, and Control N to flip any normals that were backwards. Now, I don't need to do any more work on that yet, all right? Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the side pieces of wood, and then I'll do some more work on these. So let's look at the side, and let's just go ahead and bring in another plane, and we're going to need to rotate Y 90. There it is. Let's pull it out until it's kind of in the middle of that, or some position that we like it to be in. Scale this in the Z, and we're making the wood planks that are going to go along the sides. Let's scale that in the Z more. I want about 3 of them or so. Push it down into there. All right, so let's give this some thickness. Go into edit mode, E to extrude, and we'll come out this way a little bit. It doesn't have to be too thick. And let's go back into object mode and go Control A, rotation and scale. And if you want to see what the deal is with that, look at my scale there. Okay, some weird numbers. Let's go Control A, rotation and scale back to 1. So reinitialize, ready to put a bevel with 2, same as before, except. Good enough. Okay, now we're not just going to copy these, we are going to array them, but I think we may need to lengthen. Let me look in wireframe. Yeah, it's pretty close. So let's go into edit mode and do this. Select it and scale in the Y. Just pull it out a little bit. So it's within the curve here, within these blue lines, but it's covering this part here, so it's fully covering this space. All right, let's go back and into object mode, and let's go ahead and hit an array. We're going to go in the Z direction of 1, get rid of the X, and I'm going to go for 3. Just make sure we hit the top and the bottom, and I think we're good. So in side view, here's what we're going to do. We're going to apply that array, go into object mode and select it all, or edit mode, sorry, wireframe and vertex. Let's deselect everything. Now what we need to do is we need to pull these in so that's within the curve. All right, these ones were okay already. In fact, I might even be more comfortable pulling them out a little bit. These ones are way off, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to box select those, and I'm going to scale them in the Y. I'm just going to pull them just so that they're within the curve. Deselect, grab all of these ones, scale them in the Y so that they're inside. These ones, they're all right. I'll scale them a little, make it look a little bit better. And I think I'm going to scale these ones out just a little bit, scale it in the Y, just so I'm sure that I'm all within this region. All right, now we're done. Back into object mode, and it's done. We have wood paneling on one side. Now I want to get it on the other side in the exact right position, so I'm going to mirror this to the other side. This thing is symmetrical, so I could use it as a mirror object with the origin and 3D cursor right in the middle. So I'm going to make sure I go cursor to selected. And select that, choose mirror, and the mirror object is that stuff, and it's put it there. All right, let's try that one. There we go, in the Z direction. All right, let's go ahead and apply that mirror and save. So there we go, it's going okay. Let's do some work on these. Let's actually, before we go into edit mode and do that, let's add a modifier, subdivision surface of 2. And now you see it's a little bit smoother, but we've got some issues. So let's go in and go Control R over this, roll your mouse up 1 so we get 2 of these, 2 edge loops, those yellow lines. Let's scale it in the S-axis, and that'll pull them apart as we pull our mouse. Not right to the edge, just close to the edge. Let's do that. I want to be in edge mode. Let's go Control R over one of these sort of vertical lines. Click and pull it up, and Control R, click and pull it down. Let's do the exact same thing on the other side. Oh, we're not done here yet. Let's go in here, Control R, and pull down. That will straighten out those ends. Control R, pull it down. Let me show you how that works. I'm going to hide this. See, that's flatter now. See this one? It's all weird. Let's go into this one and go Control R vertically first, 2 of them. Scale those in the X, pull out close to the end. I can go ahead and put that in now. Control R, pull it down. See the way that flattens it out on both sides? What we just need to do here. Control R here and pull up, and there and pull down. That's it. Okay, now you can also click smoothing, and that'll make it look a little bit nicer. Let's go Alt H and bring that piece back and save. Okay, now we need to do the inside, make it hollow, and work on the size of this. I think I like that actually. I don't think I have a problem at all with that. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to bring it down a little bit so I can work on both sides. I'm going to go into edit mode and I'm going to select this inner face and this outer face, and I think I'm going to look in the top view but in wireframe. And I'm going to hit E to extrude, scale in the X, and I'm going to pull it in. And I'm not sure how far I need to pull it in, so we're going to find out. And I'm going to scale in the Y and try to get in a similar amount. I think, well, I can adjust all this once I'm looking at it. So what I'm going to do is, with those there, I am going to, I'll go out of wireframe. With that like that, and that like that on the top and the bottom, I'm going to put them together and make that as a whole. All right, so I'm going to go Control E and choose Bridge Edge Loops, and just make sure Merge is not selected. Okay, and let's deselect, and let's move this up for a second and have a quick look on the inside. Okay, so that's not enough. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, I think, all of this. I'm going to click on this vertical line, Shift Alt and click, and that'll get the whole row all the way around. And I am going to go SX and pull that in. Oops. Pull that in. And I'm going to go SY, pull that in again. Okay, and I'm going to try to get roughly a similar size, so SY. Okay, I might be able to go a little bit out. Oops, I'm losing my bearings here. SX, let's pull out a little bit. Let's see what that's like. I might have to select it and Control R, or Control N, sorry. Okay, let's see what happens when I look in. Okay, that's looking great. Now, the one thing is, well, there's two things actually. Did I ever get rid of that? Yeah, I did get rid of that. All right. So what I want to do, I'm going to try scaling this. I think, let's scale this in the X and bring it out. Let's see what happens when we bring it out just to the wood. I don't want it sticking through. I think the ceiling will look more realistic that way. Okay, I just scaled it closer to the end there. That's looking just fine. Okay, so far so good. Let's go ahead and take this piece that we've now done some work on and Control A, rotation and scale just to reinitialize it, and let's add the bevel of 2, but I will pull this a little bit till I like the shape. I'm just going to pull it down till it just about disappears. I'm going to leave it at that for now. I always say for now, and I always end up leaving it for good. How about that? All right, not bad. I hope not bad. Okie doke. Yeah. All right, let's go into 1. All right, now what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to take this Shift D and we're going to copy it and we're going to bring it right back down there. Okay, a little bit of distance away, that's fine. We're then going to take it and we're going to copy it again. Shift D, going to bring it down like that. Okay. And then what we'll do is we're going to make the little leg pieces that go here. Okay, and then we'll do the wood stuff. Okay, and the way I'm going to do that is, I'm going to even hide that one for now, H to hide. I'm going to select this piece and go into edit mode, and you see this edge right here. Go into edge selection, and I'm going to click it. All right, so I've got something selected, and I go Shift S, cursor to selected. The next object I bring in is going to go right in the middle of that. Okay, so let's go, I can deselect and go back into object mode, so my 3D cursor's right there. Shift A, bring in a cube. Well, it's huge, but scale it down, and if you keep scaling and looking, it's going to start going underneath there, which is exactly what we want. Perfectly centered. Well, believe it or not, scale it down a little bit more. All right, that's good. All right, let's pull it out a little bit, see how long it is. Just touch it to there. Go into edit mode, and in face selection, grab that face. And now we're going to pull this down. And let's go ahead actually and bring that back. And oh gee, it made contact. How about that? I think we're going to go with that. And this can always be moved because I want it shorter in the bottom than the top. So we'll have a look at that. Let's take this and go Control A, rotation and scale, and add a bevel to it of 2, and move it till it's just about off. Just like that. Now I'm going to mirror this, so I'm going to actually apply that bevel, and I'm going to select this object here and go Shift S, cursor to selected, because I'm going to mirror all around this piece here, and the 3D cursor goes right in the middle, so it's perfect. I don't need to apply the bevel yet. I'm not certain about that, so I'm going to select this and go mirror with respect to this, and I've got one right there. Go in the Y, and I've got all 4 of them. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. Nice. All right, well, let's do something with the wood here. Let me make sure I got the wood selected. Yes, I do. Alt H to bring it back. I've got that and the other side, so I'm going to go Shift D, and I'm going to bring it down here. All right, I've got it on both sides. It's selected. Okay, we can go ahead and put there. Origin of geometry right in the middle. Didn't really matter, but all right, so now here's the deal. These 3 aren't big enough to fill this whole area. Well, as it turns out, I don't want the bottom that. I want to bring it up so it's covering it a bit. I'm going to bring this up. I don't want it like that. All right, I want it about there. All right, these pieces can all be shortened. I'm going to scale these in the Z right now. All right, make sure they're making contact here, and they're making contact there. Now these 3 pieces go from the top to the bottom, and that's what I want. So let's select it from the side, go into edit mode, and wireframe, and vertex. And let's do what we did before. I'm going to pull them out, the points out, till they're underneath this leg and this leg here. Okay. Box select, grab those, scale in the Y, pull them out to about there, right in the middle. Box select these ones, scale in the Y, pull it out to there. These ones are already there. To clean it up, if you wanted, you could select the whole row of them and go scale Y 0. All right, right, I'm going to do that and accept. I'm going to do that again, and I'll tell you why that's working. If you think of your math here, and this is the y-axis, right? These groups of points are not all at like 0 here. So then these ones might be at 0, and then these ones are a little bit more outwards in the y direction. I want them all lined up straight, so I go SY0. That probably was not a good explanation. Okay, but as you can see, the wood is now filling up that space perfectly. Hopefully that's the position I wanted as well. It's exactly in line with these, so that's good so far. But we're going to do some more. We're going to make sure we've got them both selected. We're going to make sure the origin is in geometry. Origin to geometry means it's right in the middle. We're going to copy these and swirl them around. Swirl, rotate, whatever. Rotate, no, not yet. Shift D, rotate Z 90. There, okay? So they're now, I just rotated them 90 degrees and they're there, but they're not in the right position and they're not long enough, but that's easy to solve. Let's go on the side view with them both selected and the origin right in the middle. Go into edit mode and hit A to select them all. You can now turn a little bit if you want and go scale in the Y and pull inwards, and they start to come in. And go to around there. All right, sort of, you know, I think we're going to go a little further. See the distance here from the edge, say, to the wood paneling versus from the edge to the wood paneling. So let's scale in the Y, maybe hold down shift to go slower. Move it in to maybe there. All right, no one's going to know. Now all we have to do is go SX, scale it in the X, pull it out. Okay, just pull it out until it starts to go under the posts. And go in object mode. How about that? There's the front, and there's the side view, perspective view, whatever. All right, that's looking okay so far. We gotta close it up, or else everything's gonna fall out from the inside. So let's do that. Let's come into this object. And the way I think I want to close this up is I want to put an edge loop right in here. So I'm going to hover my mouse right over this line here, and I'm going to Control R. I can move it, but I want it right in the middle. I'm going to click to accept, and that, and still selected. I'm just going to go F to make a face. Now when I do that, it looks funny, and that's because it's so thin. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to add modifier with this whole piece selected. And I'm going to go solidify. I'm just going to accept the default value. That's it. Done. All right. And now it's solid, and I've got a little bit of a, you know, an indent there, and this thing sits on the ground. Let's take all this stuff and hide it, and you get a sense of what the inside looks like. Okay, there's the inside of my box. Okay, Alt H, bring that back. Cool. All right, now is a good time to look at this and decide if I want to select it all, go scale in Z and squish it down. Let's just have a look. I can get out of that if I want to. Might just do that right now and be done with it. And then so when I put bolts in, I'm not going to deform them. I like that kind of, I don't know, crushed look. Okay, let's go ahead from front view and select this piece and select the face here. Yeah, that's right on that. Okay, and Shift S cursor to select it. Bring my 3D cursor right to this front face there, because I want to bring in some bolts. So I'm going to Shift A, and I'm going to bring in a circle, rotate X 90, RX 90, and scale S to scale down. I'll hit the period key to zoom in, then I'll zoom out a little bit and try to get a size that I like. Okay, I like that size, but the bolt is actually going to go over here. All right, oh, there we go. Let's have a look at this. It's going to go right around there. Okay, and I think for this one, I want to do a two-part bolt. So I'm going to go into edit mode and make sure it's selected. F to make a face, E to extrude. And let's go into object mode and Control A, rotation and scale, and make this easier. With that face selected, I am going to hit I to inset. I'm going to bring it in like this. E to extrude, and I'm going to bring it out a bit. And then I'm going to go Control B, and I'm going to pull back just a little ways, and I'm going to roll my mouse up for 2 segments. Before I leave, I'm going to select this edge and go Control B and I'm going to pull back and I roll my mouse up twice to bevel it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment. This piece might be a little bit too, might scale in the Y a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to go Shift S cursor to select it. So my 3D cursor is now on this piece here. Go Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder, but before I do anything, I'm going to switch this to 6. Okay, now it's got 6 sides. Rotate X 90, so it's facing that way, and scale. And it's right at my bolt, so zoom in with the period key, keep scaling till you start seeing, there's the bolt. Okay, let's scale it in the Y. Pull it down like that. Okay, that's pretty thick, so let's scale it in the Y a little bit more. And that's basically the effect I'm going for. Okay, now I've scaled this a lot in object mode. So let's go Control A, rotation and scale. Let's go into it, and we'll grab the top face and Control B, and I'm just going to pull it down like that. I'm not going to put any segments. I'm going to deselect. So I got a bit of a, I don't know, chamfered edge or whatever. Let's go smoothing on that. And as soon as I grab this piece and join them, I change that. That's okay. Everything's going to be smooth differently. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's just leave it like that for now. Okay, let's just look at the size of that. Well, you could always mess around with the angle and see if you get something that looks better. All right, that's fine. Okay, let's select this piece. I joined those, right? Yeah. Shift S cursor to selected. Let's take that. Yes, I did join. That was not a problem. All right, let's mirror this. Mirror with respect to this guy, and that puts it there. And let's also do it in the Y, and that'll put them there. Let's apply. Okay. Shift D, and let's move them down here as well. We can zoom in those to position that a little bit better if we need to. That's fine anyhow. So those are going to go there. And then let's choose whichever one. Let's go into edit mode, and I'm going to select one and go Control L. That'll select all the parts that are linked to it. In other words, the whole bolt apparatus, just one of them though. Shift D, P to make a new object. So I copied it and I made it a new object, and I can select it and it's out of the group. Let's set origin geometry is pretty close to there. If I move this away, see it's just a copy. All right, I want to rotate this RZ 90, and I want to put it on the side like that. Let's look at the side and figure out where it should go. It should go pretty similar distance to this one from the edge, but that's no one's going to be measuring it. Let's just make sure that it's touching like that. It's 3. Okay, my 3D cursor was on this, so I can take this and mirror this. Mirror with respect to this thing. Both of those axes. So I get them there, apply, and Shift D, and we'll move them down. And there I've got my bolts. Okay, now, yeah, I didn't really want to do materials till later on, so I'll leave the bolts. I won't mess with them yet. I won't join too much stuff either yet, but because we want this to rotate up and open, you know, treasure chests, we'll eventually have to join stuff. Let's go. One is the front, so Control 1 is the back here. Let's make some hinges, very simple hinges. Let's just select this face, Shift S, cursor to selected, and come back out, and then go Shift A. We're going to add a cylinder, but we're going to switch it back to 32. I'm going to rotate Y 90 like that, and I'm going to start scaling. That would be one big hinge. I start scaling like that. I'm going to pull it down, and we'll get in close to it. Okay, and we'll position it in a bit. I'm going to put it roughly in between. Scale this in the X and pull it out. Let's get a sense of how big it is. Yeah, scale it in the X. Let's scale, but not in the X. Just like that. Make it a bit thinner. Okay. What I think I'll do to make a very simple kind of hinge is I'm going to go Control R, roll my mouse up so that I can select two segments. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 edge loops in there. And I'm going to, in face selection, I'm going to Shift Alt and click those faces and those faces. And I'm going to go E, Scale, Shift X, and pull out. Okay, this is not exactly a realistic hinge. What do I want to pull in? You know what? I feel like pulling in today. Let's go to edge selection and actually let's go to object mode and Control A, rotation and scale, and then back. Let's select all the sharp edges. Not that though. Okay, all the 90-degree edges here. Again, not that. There and there. And there. And while we're here, let's go Control B and pull a little bit and put in a couple of segments. 2 is probably too much. All right, we hit smoothing. And if you get that discoloration, I mean, you can try to just go edge split. And you know what? Sometimes that works really well, sometimes it doesn't, and I think it works fine, so I'm just going to accept that. That's what my hinge is going to look like, all right, but I'll do 2 of them. So I'll pull one down here, and I'll select this piece, and I've already got my 3D cursor right there in the center of that. So I'll select this, and I'll go mirror with respect to this, and it'll put the other one in exactly on the other side. And I can still adjust this and see if I like where it is. So I'm going to hide that for a second. And that's probably going to be, Alt H and bring that back. It's probably going to be okay. So I'm not going to join anything though. We're just going to let those sit there for a moment, and we'll see how we feel about it. Okay, let's work on the front lock, and then we'll start joining stuff and putting some just colors, not real good materials or anything. How did I want to do this? All right, well, let's have something. Let me have another quick look. So I'm gonna make a plane and come down and come out and then to a point. All right, so let's go. Where is that? Okay, let's put the 3D cursor right at the front. All right, so let's choose that face. Shift S, cursor to selected, and back into object mode. So my 3D cursor is right there. Shift A, mesh, plane. Let's rotate X 90 and scale and zoom. All right, let's start messing around with this. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to go Control R. I'm going to put an edge loop there, and I'm going to slide it down to about there. All right, with that particular edge selected, the one I just added, I'm going to go Shift S, cursor to selected, and switch over to 3D cursor. Put my 3D cursor right there. I'm then going to select that edge there, and I'm going to rotate this edge, but because I've got the 3D cursor there, this is going to act as a pivot, so it'll rotate along the pivot. I'm going to rotate it in the X, watch this, RX 90. Okay, it went backwards, minus. I want it to go there. So you see the way it pivoted around that spot right there. All right, now don't forget to switch back to median point, which is the default. With this edge selected, I'm going to go scale in the X. Now, I don't think that's long enough, so I'm going to pull it out like that. Okie dokie. Now, there's more. Control R, I'm going to put in a couple of edge loops there, and Control R, a couple of edge loops there, and I'm going to make a really weird hole in a while. Okay? I could probably grab these edges and pull them down. I don't think I need it to be that long, but I may be scaling the whole thing soon. All right, let's give this a shot. Actually, let's scale this in the X a little bit. I'm gonna see. Rotation and scale. Let's give it a try. Let's go to solidify and click on even thickness and just start cranking this up. Well, not too much. Something like that. And let's pull it out of the wall there. See if I like that. And let's pull it further away. I want to look from the side. Now I'm going to go into this. No, I'm going to apply that. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. I'm going to go into this in wireframe and have a look and see in vertex mode if I maybe want to grab these and go scale wise 0 and straighten them out a bit. And even these, the bottom here, and in the Z direction, scale Z0. That's probably good enough. That's probably good enough. All right, now let's go in here and have a look at this and see if I can. Oh, what have I done? If I can even just grab this edge and pull it back, and grab this edge and pull it forward. I didn't do that on both sides, did I? Okay. I might grab both of those and scale in the Y to pull them apart a little bit. I don't know. I'm just messing around. Grab that face and this face. And let's go Control E, bridge edge loops. And I'm going to leave it at that. And then we're going to put on a subdivision surface, and then we're going to support it. Subdivision surface of 2. All right, and let's go in and let's make this look better, please. Let's turn it off for a moment so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put an edge loop there and there. Okay, and let's turn back on. All right, it looks terrible. Okay, good. I'm glad it looks terrible. Edge loop there, edge loop there, edge loop here, edge loop here. Okay. Select it all. Control N. I forgot to do that. Sometimes when you bridge edge loops, it'll go like that. You'll have to flip normals. Edge loop here. Edge loop here. Edge loop here and here. I'm getting there. There's a lot of detail probably from something I didn't need to do so much. Let's do one down here, pull one down here, and pull one over here, and pull one over here. Let's see how we're doing. Not happy with this yet, but let's have a look at this so far. Even with smooth. Okay. Okay, very odd looking circle, so that's all right. What we'll do is I'm going to look down, and in wireframe and in vertex, I'm going to go Control B to grab all this. I'm going to pull it in so it looks like that. And then I'm going to go Control B and to grab all of this and pull it out. Am I doing that? No, I'm not doing that. Let's try scale this in the Y. And let's take the whole thing and scale it in the X. That's okay. I'm going to shorten it in that position. I'm going to do a little bit more work on it too. Okay, so so sorry about this part. Might seem a little bit complicated and a little bit wishy-washy, like I don't know what I'm doing. That's not exactly true. I mean, it's partially true, but I'm playing around with stuff and I can't give exact instructions, which is too bad. I probably should have practiced this more and tell you exactly what I want you to do, but it's not like that. I'm going to scale this in the X. Stop talking for a minute. Scale that in the X. And I'm going to go into side view, and I'm going to grab these top ones and I'm going to pull them down. Alright, and I'm going to have a look at this. Okay, I'm liking it so far. I'm going to go into side view, and I'm going to grab these ones and I'm going to pull them in, and I'm getting closer, I think, to the shape that I want. Alright, much closer. Alrighty. I have room still, if I want, to put a bolt there. Let's see what happens if I take this and go Shift D, rotate Y 180, and put one down on this piece here. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Just like that. Well, just for the hell of it, we might as well shift S cursor. Might as well make a little bolt for it. We'll make a different, not a cube. Sorry about that. Shift S, Shift A. Let's make a circle. Rotate X90. Okay, scale it down. Very, very simple, but just a tiny, tiny detail. We'll have a couple of them. I want one up there. And there. Probably something like that. We'll see. Okay, have to make a face. E to extrude. Pull it out. Control B. Pull it back. And give one or two segments. Probably two. It's a bit, scale that in the Y. It's a bit too thick. Hit smooth. Okay, just where to put those. Let's just try copying it and putting another one there. And seeing if it looks realistic. Those holding it. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so what I'll do is I am going to accept that, the subdivision surface, and I'm going to take these and join them. Okay, just like that. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to copy this one down again. Shift D, rotate Y 180. And that's a lot of polys for that, but you know, that's that piece right there. Alrighty, well, we're going to make a lock and then put the colors on. All right. So how do I want to do this? It's different ways. I might, well, the cursor's right there anyhow, so I might try Shift A, bringing in a curve. Let's try bringing in, I don't know, a NURB circle. Why not? Let's scale it down. I'm going to bring it over here actually because it's going to be fitting in there like that. Alright, but I'm going to scale it down some more like that. Okay, in front view, let's go into edit mode and let's deselect everything. And I think what I'm going to do is grab all these three and go X, delete segments. And then I think I'm going to grab these and go E and bring them down. That's possibly good enough right there. So let's have a look at that with this curve icon here. Choose full, bring up the depth and the resolution, and hit smooth. Okay, that's a bit too wide, I think. Let's move it over a bit down. Okay, let's try scaling it like that, and then bringing up the depth again. Big chunky lock sorts. Okay, so with that, I could go back into edit mode and I could box select all these and pull down further. Okay, those can always go into the lock, so if it's a little bit far, I don't mind. Like something like that. Might be a little bit too fat though. Well, we'll see. Let's go Shift S, cursor to selected, and we'll start just making a very primitive lock. Shift A, bring in a cube and scale it down. Zoom right in. Okay, let's scale this in the X. And we'll scale it in the Y. And we'll scale it in the Z. Let's go in the Z a little bit more. Okay, and let's Control A. Let's go into edit mode and grab these edges in edge selection. Grab these edges, Control B, pull in, and roll your mouse up a few times. grab the top one and the bottom one and Control B and roll your mouse up a couple times. So we're beveling this like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Control R right on the front, right in the middle, and right in the back in the middle. That one's selected. I'm going to Shift Alt and click that one, and I'm just going to go I don't have to proportion either. I'm just going to go Scale in the Y and pull. I'm just going to do that. And we'll just leave it like that for the moment. I'm going to go Shift A and bring in a circle. I don't know why I would do this even. Never see this, but that's for the heck of it. Bring it down near the bottom. And we'll hit the what's the period key? Period key to zoom in, and we'll scale it smaller. Just like that. A little bit smaller. Go into it. I have to make a face, Heat Extrude. I'm going to pull down, and then I'm going to select it with Control N to flip the polys. And then I'm going to push it in there like that. I'm going to select this with the wrench. I'm going to choose Boolean difference and select that. Apply, and I'm going to delete that. I know it worked. So that's too much. You can take it back. That's too far. Just touch it in there. That's it. Don't have to go too far. Okay, now I can delete that. All right, that's better. And I'm going to select that edge and that edge on the outer part, and I'm going to go Control B, pull back, and I'm going to bevel this hole. Just like that. No, I haven't put any smoothing on this. We'll get to that if necessary. Yeah, okay. It's a big honking lock. Okay, now let's do some colors, and let's join it up. All right. So I'm just going to come over to the side and put New, and I'm going to go in the color section. I'm going to find a purple, kind of a purplish color. And in order to view it in the viewport here, I'm going to go into Settings, and under Viewport Color, I'm going to click that, use the eyedropper, and select that purple. Now, I'm going to go in and open the side panel and unclick Matte Cap, but I'm going to leave on ambient occlusion for some shadows. And I'm going to start selecting things like that wood, and I'm going to choose purple. And this wood, almost pink, I guess. I don't know about that lock color. All right, so that's that. Now I'm going to make another material, and I'm going to make it sort of a bluish tinge, a little bit like that. Let's try that color. Under Viewport Color, I'm going to sample that, and I'm going to choose those and see how they look with that. Geez, like a pastel blue. Might be too much blue, but I can easily change that. Oh, that thing. All right, well, whoa. I think I'm going to choose this as well and make it that color. And that piece there. Alrighty. And I'm going to make another one and make it sort of a goldish yellow. Try that. And I'm going to select the lock. Make another color, and I want this one to be blackish. I think I do anyhow. I think I'll go with that. Under Viewport Color with my eyedropper, I'll select that, and I'm going to select the bolts. I'm not sure I like that, but I'm gonna give it a try anyhow. Okay, also these hinges, that same black. Okay, now I think I'm going to come into this, and I'm going to select a piece of each of these bolts, Control L, and I think I'm going to choose that black as well and hit assign like that, and I'm going to do that for down here as well. Select a piece of that one, and that one, and choose that block and assign as well. I can always change these. I think it's time now to start joining, so I'm going to apply that subdivision surface, and I'm going to join things together. And there's nothing on it, so I'm just going to start joining. This probably has a bevel on it. I'm going to go ahead and accept that bevel, join that, and these bolts join for the top, just like that. This piece ready to roll, right? Okay. Did I, yeah, the subdivision surface is on there. Bolts are already joined to that. Let me just double check. That should be all of that. I'm going to join, no, I'm not going to join these hinges. What happened to that other hinge? How did we lose it? Let's get rid of that. Let's select this, shift cursor to selected. Let's take this, mirror with respect to that. Strange, apply. Let's set origin and geometry on those. Okay. Let's see, this, I'm going to apply this bevel and grab the bolts. Okay, this piece is going to attach to this, and this will join with this bottom piece. I've got to apply that bevel before I join. Let me double check what I'm missing here. Okay, sides. This and this. Is that it? Okay. Then it's a question I think of, I'm not animating this, of posing it. I think, oh, well, let's put a ground in. Let's, I don't know where my cursor is. That's fine. Let's just scale this up big, like that. The ambient occlusion is what is giving that simulation of shadow, because there aren't any shadows really in when I do render in OpenGL. Greenish color, something like that, pastel-y green. Yeah, that's it. Let's have a quick look at this. Let's have a quick OpenGL render. All right. So now what we'll do is I will take this. Okay, so to rotate it, we're getting close to the end. I'm going to select those hinges, Shift S, cursor to selected, and switch over to 3D cursor for my rotation point. Select the top and rotate X and just pull. Everything is joined, so that should be good. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take the lock and let's origin of geometry, but I got to go back to median point, and I'm going to move the lock down like that and pretend it's just still there. It's locked on the bottom one, and the top one has been removed, and that is essentially what we needed to do. All right, so we'll just get a vantage point. I'm going to go over this and the camera. I'm going to bring up my size here, and we'll try an OpenGL render. Just like that. Let's save that one. Treasure chest. Open video. One. Oh, what did I hit? What did I hit? Get rid of a period, perhaps. That's fine. All right, we'll try one more position. We'll go over here. We'll look down. Yeah. Let's see if I get the bottom cut off there. So we got slightly different lighting. let's compare to the original. All right, I did a couple of things a little bit different. This piece ended up a little bit different. Still, you know, I like it. It's cute. So thanks for watching.